beautiful, welcome back to Nat's Beautiful Life. Today I'm going to be sharing with you my favorite video to do over here, and that is the mid-year freakout tag. I have so far finished, I believe, 54 books for the year of 2022. So I feel like we have a good kind of a group of books to pull from. If you're new to this channel, hello, my name is Natasha. I do videos on books, art journaling, anything I want to do a video about, because why not? But I do a lot of reading, and I'd love to share what I've read with all of you and get all of your thoughts as well. So be sure you are subscribed. If you like me, if you want to see more, you want to see any of the videos that I post, hopefully every Friday, then make sure you are subscribed. Like this video if you like it, and if you like the notification bell, we have one of those as well. Alright, without any further ado, let's get into the mid-year freakout tag. Okay, so the first question is the best book you've read so far in 2022. I have kind of two answers for this. The first one is The Four Winds by Kristen Hanna. This has been, I think, one of the best books overall, not only with story, but with the writing and all of that. It was one of those books where I couldn't wait to get to it, to open it, to see what happened, and just enjoyed everything all the way through. And it is a sad story and sad subject matter, but the writing and the way everything flows just works anyway. I don't know how to explain it, but definitely pick this one up if you like historical fiction at all. And if this is like the Dust Bowl, Great Depression, people traveling west, find work in California, that kind of thing. Really enjoyed this book, and really made me excited for more Kristen Hanna. The second books that I wanted to mention were actually a series. So the best series that I've gotten into so far is, let's see what it's called, Black Girls Must Die Exhausted and Black Girls Must Be Magic by Jayne Ireland. There will be a third book coming out probably next year, so I'm looking forward to that. I've done the audiobooks for both of these, and the narrator's really good, so I highly recommend those. Just an all-around great story, and if you enjoy contemporary, I would say not really lighthearted, but kind of lighthearted with some big things happening. Like, it is literally a life, but it happens during a certain period of time. Anyway, and relationships with other people and all of that. I'm explaining it really bad because it's been a hot minute since I read it, but I really enjoyed it. It really just kind of like sparked something in me to continue to read this particular author's writing, and I really enjoyed this series so far. The sequel that I read in 2022 has been Us Against You by Fredrik Backman. This is the second book to the Beartown series. The third book, The Winners, is coming out this year, I think, in English. It's already out in its mother tongue, but I love the series so much. I love the characters. It takes place in a small town, and it has a very strong like community, and they are all centered around hockey. It's what keeps their community together. It's what helps drive economy for them and all of that. So lots of things going on with that, but also just the interpersonal relationships and the high stakes and all of that that happen within this particular group. And there's just so much to these books. So I cannot recommend these enough. Like, I read the second one, and I was really trying to get my husband to understand like how amazing these are, and so he went out and got Beartown, and then immediately like just flew through it, and then had to go get the other one. So it's one of those books where you just can't put it down, like you can't stop. And I do recommend the audiobook for this as well. The narrator's amazing. He read the books and I did the audiobooks. We both love them equally. So go pick that up if you have not started that series yet. If you pick up nothing else, pick up Beartown and Us Against You. Very good books. New release that I haven't read yet, but I want to. It's gonna be Violetta by Isabel Allende. I bought this book at my local bookstore because I did not want to wait for it at the library. It is signed. I paid full price for this book. What is it, 20, 30 bucks, whatever it was, $28. And I still haven't read it. It is on my TBR for June. I'm hoping I have time to get to it, because I've been itching to read this, but I just haven't picked it up yet because I've had so many other things I had to read on a time crunch, or right now I'm reading a book club book, which it's okay, I'm not enjoying it, but I'd rather be reading this, but whatever. I hope to get to this book next, but it's definitely a book that I've had since it came out, that I was really excited about, that still haven't read. Okay, so most anticipated releases for this second part of 2022. This is gonna be quite a list. First off is gonna be Blade Breaker, which is the sequel to Realm Breaker by Victoria Aveyard. I do love a good quest, a good mixed group of weirdos on a journey to fix the world or whatever, and I really enjoyed this. I feel like the writing, I feel like the editor took a day off when it came to the writing in this book, but the story was great, and I'm hoping that the writing problems that we had in the first book are fixed for the second book. But either way, I'm really looking forward to this. I think it's a great story, and can't wait for that. Oh, my books just fell. Sorry. The second one is Bloodborne. My list is on a table right here. Is Bloodborne by Tracy Deonn, the sequel to Legendborn, by the same author. And this is one of the biggest surprises of the year last year for me. I enjoyed it so much, and there was so much to it that I really want people to go in blind with this, because it's not what you think, it's just so much more. So we have our main character who goes to UNC Chapel Hill to an early college program. So she's still in high school, but it's like her senior year, but she's taking college classes. Anyway, while she's there, she meets a dude, and turns out maybe fates aligned when she met him. She saw some things that she wasn't supposed to be able to see, but she saw them. There is the Arthurian court there, so the Knights of the Round Table, kind of descendants of those people. There's a secret society and all of that, but let me just tell you, there's so much more to this book, and I'm really looking forward to Bloodborne, which is the second book in the series. The other book that I'm looking forward to, what's it called? The Ballad of Never After by Stephanie Garber, which is the sequel to Once Upon a Broken Heart. These books are just a lot of fun. This is in the Caraval world. I would recommend reading Caraval before you get to these. You don't really have to, but a lot of the backstory would make a lot more sense if you read the original trilogy first. Caraval, that book itself is hard to get through. The other two are really good, and then you have this one. So push through Caraval. Some people really loved it, but push through Caraval and then get to the rest of the books, because they're really, really good. Again, this is like a fate and a mortal on a quest for something. I'm taking that bracelet off, it's too noisy. And then the next one is going to be The Atlas Paradox by Olivia Blake. This is the original The Atlas 6 by Olivia Blake that was self-published, and it has since been picked up by Tor and has been published by the masses, and then we're going to get The Atlas Paradox as well. I've heard there are a few changes or a few little things. If you've read this and the new version by Tor, The Atlas 6, let me know if it's enough of a change that I need to read it. It's not a big deal if I should, but I'm just wondering if if it would be worth it to read it in the newest version before I move on. But those are the 4 books that I'm definitely looking forward to in the second half of 2022. I don't even know what year I'm in. So the next question is biggest surprise of the year so far, and that would be Frenchman's Creek by Daphne du Maurier. Don't know why I can't say that word. This is a classic romance of all things. I didn't realize it was a romance. All I know about Daphne du Maurier before was Rebecca, which is kind of a horror, and I thought that's what she did. Apparently this was a romance, but it's not your typical romance. There's a lot more to it, and it's incredible. I cannot say enough about it. There's a lady, Donna, who has left London and her husband and brought her children and nanny and everything to their country estate in England, and there's rumors of a pirate and all this stuff, and it's just a lot. It's causing like trouble in the area, but she's also part of the it's just really good. It's really good. Get this, go into it a little blind, and just be ready for a good time. Really enjoyed this book. I am ready for a reread of it. The second kind of surprise was The Stationery Shop by Marjan Kamali. This was a book I read for a video I did called Reading YouTubers' either favorite books or most anticipated books, something like that. And that was such a surprise. Such a good book. And you learn a lot about Iran and Iranian culture, as well as, you know, these ladies when they, the particular character, when they come to America to go to school and all of these things. It's amazing. And there's also a love story kind of wound around it, but there's just so much more to it. And I really enjoyed that one. I highly, highly recommend it. Next question is favorite new author or new to you. These are both new to me. They're not new, but have really enjoyed the Kristen Hanna books. I've read this one, obviously, and then I also listened to The Great Alone by Kristen Hanna this year, and really enjoyed that. I do understand what people say when they say that they like Kristen Hanna, really great books, really great writer, but you have to kind of spread your time out between one Kristen Hanna book and another because there's so much into these books. So I really have enjoyed her stuff, and I'm looking forward to do more in the future. Yeah, I need a break. And also, after finishing finally The Assassin's Apprentice, I get the whole Robin Hobb thing. I get the whole Robin Hobb thing. At the end of this book, I was like waiting for something to happen, and it happened, and I was like, yes! So yeah, I get it, and I'm looking forward to moving along in this series. Next question is newest fictional crush. Don't normally do fictional crushes, but I thought I would pick out two that I thought were quite interesting. One is Jack from The Four Winds. He is the guy who's trying to unionize the workers. And also Del Reese from The Saints of Swallow Hill by Donna Everhart. He is not a great guy at the very beginning of the book, but he turns out to be a lot better man than originally thought. And I really enjoyed his story and learning about him. That particular book takes place, again, in the Great Depression. But there's two main characters. You've got Raylan and Del, and the chapters kind of go back and forth between the two until they finally kind of meet together. And really enjoyed that book, and I really enjoyed that character. The next one is Book That Made You Cry. There's two now. There's only one listed on this page, but I have since finished a book that made me cry as well. And I don't cry easily at books because I know it's fake, but this one was a real book. It's nonfiction. It is Between Two Kingdoms by Sulika Huad. This is her journey through life and it being derailed by a blood cancer, bone cancer, and her journey through everything. And it hit home, it made me cry, and I really adored this book. I highly recommend it. Pick it up. The second one that made me cry, I was at work listening to the audiobook, finishing it, and I was like, I'm not crying. You know, like, I'm not crying, you're crying, don't you fall. It was The Great Alone by Kristen Hanna. I had about an hour left in the book, and then something happens, and it was not really sad tears, but it was beautiful tears. Like, this is so beautiful. Like that kind of thing. Really enjoyed that book. It sounds terrible. You're like, I cried so hard. But it was a beautiful book. Section of the book. The relationship between the main character and her mother and all of that. It's just beautiful. So, that one. A book that made you happy. There's definitely two here. One is The Night Shift by Alex Finlay. One, it happened in a blockbuster. It is a mass murder in a blockbuster. And then there's the investigation when a similar thing happens like 10 years later or something like that. And, or 20 years later, something like that. They didn't have to dumb down anybody. It was a great mystery. You really couldn't pinpoint exactly who done it. And to me, that made me so happy because I'm so sick and tired of mysteries that are just awful. Mystery books that are just dumbed down. They dumb down these characters that are supposed to be doctors and lawyers and all this stuff. They didn't do this in this book, and that was one thing that made me happy. Also, like I said, happened in a blockbuster. It was like lots of 90s nostalgia, things like that. But also, just the book was good. I really, really enjoyed it. If you are into mysteries or you're like me, you get disappointed by mysteries, pick this one up. It's a good time. Even if you guess who it is, it's still like a good time. And the other one was The 100-Year-Old Man That Jumped Out of the Window and Disappeared by Jonasson. This book was such a treat. I did the audiobook for it. I do recommend that. And it was just awesome. It's basically, I've described it as the Swedish Forrest Gump. You literally start when he's born, 1905. Well, you start with him jumping out the window. And then you kind of go through flashbacks. But it's just zany. The characters are funny. There's a couple times when I was listening to the audiobook, I had to take the earbuds out and just have a laughing little fit spell there because it was so funny. It was so good. And it was a much needed book at that time because I had been listening to so many like serious books and things like that, and it was just such a good time. I love this book so much. What's another one here? Most beautiful book you've bought or received so far this year. I think Violetta is probably my favorite on this. Really, really pretty cover. I love the different colors. And I also like this one. This is a book of the month book called The Good Left Undone. I like the colors and the simplicity and just the vintagey look of this book. So I think these two are my favorites so far for the year. What books do I need to read by the end of the year? So many. First of all, the rest of the book club books. And then I have them over here. I need to read, well, first of all, Violetta. I need to read The Shadow of the Wind by Carlos Ruiz Zafón. This is definitely high on my list. I have The Icassar Falcon by K.S. Veloso. This is the follow-up to The Wolf of Oren-Yaro. I really want to get on this one. That was a lot of fun. What else do I have? Hide by Kirsten White, which is a new release, but it just sounds like a good time. Sounds like a horror story in a, like, amusement park or something. And then I want to finish Rebecca by Daphne du Maurier. This will probably be a fall kind of read because it is kind of horror-ish. But anyway, those are the books. So, if you'd like to answer any of these questions down in the comments below and let me know what your answers are, feel free. I'll have the questions down in the description box there, so if you want to do this video yourself or what have you, then you can. And I think that's it. Thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate you so much, and I will see you next week. Have a great day, gorgeous.